Am I audible to everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
how is everybody?
Fine,
I'm
thank you.
good.
How are
How are
you?
you? I'm good. I'm good. Good. So enjoyed your weekend? One day off?
Yeah, sort of relaxing.
Good, good. Okay, so I think we'll begin our class. Yes, so everybody back and neck straight. Gently close your eyes and start observing your breath. Watch your breath as it is. Disconnect from all the thoughts and come back to the breath. And now begin to deepen your breath. Inhaling slowly and exhaling slowly. Going into a deep state of relaxation. We'll be chanting Om 3 times, followed by 3 Shanti. After the next exhalation, inhale deeply for Om. 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 Shanti. 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 Join both your palms together in front of the chest and rub both the palms together. Place them over your eyes and very slowly, while blinking and looking at your palm, open up your eyes, come back to the smile, and namaste to everyone. Let's begin today's session. So last time we were discussing Hatha Yoga, what it is, what is the purpose, and so you can write down one or two more things in front of her and her. we discussed Ha is the Pingla Nadi and Tha is the Ida Nadi. Yeah, so right side and left side. So for Pingla Nadi, you can also write pranic force, and for Ida Nadi, you can write mental force. The Pingla Nadi is connected to the left hemisphere of the brain, and the Ida Nadi is connected to the right hemisphere of the brain. Okay. So continuing with the Hatha Yoga only, um, there is one story that I probably missed out on. So how did Hatha Yoga start getting passed on? So as we have discussed earlier also, Nath cult is considered to be connected with Hatha Yoga. Like Nath cult was the one which passed down Hatha Yoga, and in Nath cult, uh, two very famous names, Matsyendranath and Gorakhnath. These are two very famous names that you will find when you read about the lineage of Hatha Yoga. So there is a story. Uh, so what happened was there was a yogini, and she had a very strong desire to have a son, and she wasn't able to have kids. Okay, so um, one day a yogi was passing by where she lived, and he was just crossing that village, and she saw him, and she knew that he was a yogi. The yogi's name is Matsyendranath. Okay, so she saw him, she recognized that he's a yogi, and she understood that he was the person who could help her. So she went to him and she told him that she had a very strong desire to have a kid, and he what he did was, so it's just a story, so let's take it as a story only. So he gave her some vibhuti, or I can say I don't know the exact word for vibhuti in English. Like he gave her something in her hand which had power. Okay. So he gave her something in her hand and he said that you eat this and you will be able to have a child. Okay. So she said, okay, I'll do that. And the yogi left, and she had that blessed offering in her hand. So eventually, what happened was that everyone around her convinced her that, you know, there is no way in which you'll be able to have a child by eating this, and it's pretty unrealistic and all of that. So they talked her out of it. And what she did was she went and she threw that um, uh, blessed, I would say, blessed vibhuti that the yogi gave her in a pile of cow dung. Okay, and then she left, and so time passed on. Time went, and after a few years, the yogi came back again, and the yogi asked her that, okay, did you eat that? Did you have your child? And where is the child? I would really want to meet the child. So she said that I did not end up eating that, and I just threw it away. So Matsyendranath said that, okay, take me over there, wherever you threw that, just take me over there. So when they went to that place, from the cow dung, uh, he called out the name, he called out for the boy, and from the pile of cow dung, a boy, 12-year-old boy, came out of that, and he was Gorakhnath. Okay, so then what happened was that he became a very devoted disciple of Matsyendranath, and he went with him and he learned uh, all of the yogic practices. And uh, we have discussed this earlier also. When the time came when Matsyendranath ji needed his knowledge of yoga the most, he lost that knowledge. And that is when Gorakhnath ji came again and he taught Matsyendranath ji about yoga so that he could like gain his knowledge back. So the student became the teacher for him. And Gorakhnath is considered to be a very famous propagator of Hatha Yoga and the Nath cult. And after that, one by one, these practices were passed down. And today we find it like Hatha Yoga practices taking place everywhere around us. So that is how the story goes that Gorakhnath ji came uh, on earth, and then he was the one who passed down Hatha Yoga. And the originator is, of course, considered to be Lord Shiva only for Hatha Yoga also. Okay, so before I go any further, any doubts from previous classes or anything? Right. Okay, great. So today we are going to discuss the causes of success and failure as it is given in Hatha Pradipika. So these are called Sadhak Tattva and Badhak Tattva. So I'll just write this down in the chat box also. So Sadhak Tattva, I will just spell this out. SADHAK. Tattva is TATTVA. And Badhak Tattva is spelled as BADHAK. Badhak and Tattva. TATTVA. Okay. So Sadhak Tattva are the um, qualities that support your sadhana. And Badhak Tattva are the qualities which don't support your sadhana, or they can also become like qualities in a student which don't allow his or her progress. So when you go to Hatha Pradipika, you will find these in the first chapter itself. And there are six. We'll start with the Badhak Tattva. So there are six Badhak Tattva that we have. Okay. So these are, I'll just name all of them. So these are overeating. First is overeating. Then we have exertion. Talkativeness. adhering to rules, being in the company of common people, and unsteadiness. We'll discuss each and every one of these. I'll just start in a minute. You guys can note this down. Okay, so I'll begin. So the first point that we have is overeating. Now, this concept has been talked of in yoga a lot. How a yogi, when he is going into spiritual practices, or any sadhak who's going into spiritual practices, the food that they consume, like the quantity is generally we see that it is reduced, or we find the proportion of the food how it's supposed to be taken. So the concept of mitahar also comes in when we read Hatha yogic texts. Also, you will find the concept of mitahar in Ayurveda also. So why is all of the emphasis being placed on the food and the consumption of the food, how it's being consumed? So the reason is because food can, depending on what type of food you consume and how much you consume, so the quality and quantity of the food that you consume is has a very deep impact on how uh, we are overall, like the thoughts that we have or the emotions that we experience. Food is a very big factor when it comes to all these things. So for a yogi, it has been generally said that sattvic food is to be consumed. Yes, and the proportion of the food also has also been given, like, so how much food the yogis should consume. This is only because uh, it was seen that these days when we eat food, we do not eat food as per our hunger. We eat food because maybe we have timed it in that way, like, I want to fix my schedule, so I have this time in which I will eat. But when that time comes, then we do not generally observe if we are hungry or not. Some days we are not hungry at that point of time, but we still eat because we have set a time. So, and when we consume the food, also we eat till the, like, we fill our stomach completely. And when we do that, we experience a lot of lethargy. We just want to sleep up after eating food. All of us want to take a very short, small nap after eating lunch, or even breakfast, dinner. After dinner, so we go to sleep only. But when we consume food and we consume more food, then what happens is there is a heaviness in the body and a dullness. You will experience dullness in your mind. Okay. So, and once you experience that, you won't be able to do your yogic practices. So, if my food is sattvic, if my food gives me energy, then that is one type of food. But if I suppose I eat pizza or I eat junk food, then after eating that food, you will observe you feel very lazy. Why? Because it has the quality of making you lazy. So one thing is that go for sattvic type of food, which energizes you, which has more pranic value. Second thing is don't overeat, because even if you overeat sattvic food, you will see that you are facing a lot of heaviness. You are experiencing a lot of dullness of mind at that point of time. So overeating becomes a barrier when a student who is trying to walk on the path of yoga is like it becomes a barrier for a student who's walking on the path of yoga. Okay. Then the next point that we come to is the exertion that we all like experience. So why is exertion in the badhak or the practice, the qualities that don't support the practice of yoga is because you must have seen that when you're practicing yoga yourselves, so you push yourself a little bit too hard. So if I come to the asana class, and asana specifically, this happens, and it's very generally observed when this happens. So what we do is, even if we are very tired and we feel that our body isn't supporting us, we still go into excessive practice. Why? Because when I look outside, everybody around me is very flexible, and if I don't work hard, I will not be flexible. So I go, I practice very hard physically, and even mentally. I am exerting myself when I'm doing this, like out of will. When I am practicing something, I am exerting myself mentally to do that same practice. So this is considered to be a barrier, because this will eventually exhaust you out, and you won't be able to be continuous on your path. And continuity has been given a higher status than being flexible or being able to do certain asanas, because now all of you understand that asana is just one part of even hatha yoga. So it's not everything, it's not yoga. It's just a part which allows you to get to a position where you are stable. Yes, and your mind is able to also become stable with the body, so that you can sit in meditation for a long period of time. So that is the main point that we need to keep in mind whenever we are practicing any form of yoga. All of the parts of that practice are just uh, processes that will take you to the final goal. So don't go into extreme for any practice. Okay. Eventually, everyone is able to do everything. Give yourselves time, breathe, and listen to your body. That should be your top priority. Listening to your body. Okay. Then we come to the third point. Any doubts so far in the first two that we have discussed?
No, it's clear.
Okay. Okay. So the third thing is talkativeness. So this is our favorite. Yes, we all like to talk, interact. Human beings are social animals by default, by their default wiring. They are social animals. Yes. So when one gets into talkativeness, so does the book or the text try to say when it's talking about talkativeness is that unnecessary talk during the day. So all of us know we have limited energy, we have limited resources, we have limited hours during the day. Yeah, nobody can change, nobody can make your 24 hours, 25 hours. Some days we need 25, 26 hours. We could really use that, but it doesn't happen. So as much as we would want it to happen. So everything you can see is kind of like I can come to a point where if I sleep, I will the energy that I have, I'll be able to increase that because now my body is rested. But we do have limited time during a day, and there are only particular things that we can do during the day. We cannot do everything at the same time. Yeah, and we shouldn't, even if we can. Yeah. So when we talk a lot, then the energy that a yoga sadhak needs to put into his sadhana goes away in the form of talking, discussion, all of these things. So when you talk excessively, then just understand that you can use that same amount of energy or that same pool of energy for doing something else. So talkativeness is discouraged when you come in the practice of yoga. I'm not sure if you guys have heard, but there is a spiritual um, a meditation technique. 10-day camps are put up. It's called Vipassana or Vipassana. Yeah, I'm not too sure if you guys have heard of it.
Yeah,
So
I
over
heard
there,
that. It's in
yeah,
Igatpuri,
yeah,
Maharashtra.
it's in a lot of places. Igatpuri is one of the main centers.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you guys are interested to go into deep meditation, you can search for this on Google also, Vipassana or Vipassana. Um, it's a meditation retreat for 10 days, and over there you keep silent for 10 days. Like there is mom, complete silence, and you just go into meditation and you just practice the technique while you are there. There is no talking. And once you go into this, like go for this retreat, and when you come back, you realize a lot of things. And one of them is actually that when we talk, we lose out on a lot of energy. So if you guys, if this, like, if you want to go into deep meditation, I would highly recommend that you uh, research about this. And if you guys get a chance, you should at least attend one 10-day retreat and see what is being taught and try to understand and experience, because 10 days being cut off from the entire world is a very unique experience, I would say. And it's a very spiritual experience also. So you guys can go for that. Yeah. So once you come out, you will also realize that talking isn't that necessary after all. Okay. So the next point that we come to is adhering to rules. Now you would say that, okay, I'm a yoga sadhak and I should adhere to rules, but that is not the case. But that is not the case. So as I discussed in the previous class also, when we were talking about Hatha Yoga, then we saw that yam and niyam have been removed. Why? Because when you stick to the yama or niyama, like very like you're just sticking to that particular yama, and when you're not able to do that thing, then you feel guilt. Yes. So adhering to any particular rule and just sticking to it and not allowing space to yourself, not giving that space to yourself, actually becomes a barrier in your sadhana. You won't be able to practice yoga completely if you are limiting yourself uh, each and every time. So rules are set up the way in which, when like the word rule um, brings up certain images in our minds, but rules were actually given like in a lot of places also and in yoga also, so that you are the rules have to come naturally to you. Basically, they are not trying to bind you to do something. They are actually trying to set you free. Yeah. So that you can experience the discipline and stick to your practice. But with time, what started happening was this sense started getting lost. Why? Because now when we read certain rules, we just want to stick to them, even if we know that maybe on a particular day they are not exactly supporting the purpose for which we have undertaken those rules. Yeah. So sticking exactly to one thing, I will give you an example for this. So suppose that um I have chosen the um yama of satya or truth. Okay, so now I have decided, okay, out of all the yamas, let me at least stick to one completely. So, okay, good intention, good state of mind, and a good way to adopt something. So, okay, I've taken that resolution. And then what starts happening is now I cannot run away from my day to day life, and I cannot tell everybody that I cannot always speak the truth. Sometimes we don't even realize we are lying. Yeah, it's a very minute little lie, but we don't realize. So what happens is that at some point of time I face a situation where I have to lie. So then I will start going into guilt, or I will start being like, okay, now I have to start from zero. Now this is unacceptable. So for 1 week, what I do is I will leave everything. I will be sad. I will not practice any of the things that I'm supposed to do, because I will be in so much guilt of breaking that particular rule that I myself chose. Yes, for my betterment. But because I had this attitude of limiting myself to it, of not going like, of just saying that, okay, it's black and white, there is no gray area, that is when I am actually restricting myself instead of elevating myself through that route. So, in yoga, the relevance of a guru, that is why the relevance of a guru is emphasized, because the guru will know where you are, what you can follow, what you cannot follow, and how you should follow a particular thing. Now, when you go and read books, you will see proper rules that are written. Yes, but and we try to follow them also. But that is why we end up leaving our sadhana, because we think we take it too literally. We take those rules, regulations too literally. So a guru must be consulted, because the guru will be able to tell you how you can practice that thing, and how you can reach that state of perfection in that thing without that particular thing destroying you or firing back. Okay, so our last second last point is company of common people, being in the company of common people. So, as we have seen, for a yogi, eventually after a particular stage, he secludes himself from people around him. Yes, because now he has to go in a stage where he has to practice very deeply, and he has to be alone. Yes, but for a yoga student or sadhak like you guys, yes, it's easier to understand uh, the same point in a different way. The people we are surrounded by, we become like those people. So you must be very careful when you select your company, when you select the people that are around you, who surround you. Yes, because you will also somewhere or the other, consciously or subconsciously, start acting in that manner. Now, suppose if I am a part of a group which likes to uh, go have fun uh, at the cost of missing the main thing that you're supposed to do, and isn't in that state of mind that you are, like suppose you are very spiritual, and the people you hang out with, they are not that spiritual, yeah, or don't understand what you are doing. Okay, and hence they are not very supportive also. They will always ask you to come out, have junk food, go hang out, go party. So all of these people will do what? They will not allow you in a way to progress on your spiritual journey, because you are constantly being pulled in the other direction also. Yes, you want to go practice spirituality or go into spiritual practices, be over there, but the people around you are constantly pulling you back. You understand now as yoga students that okay, material world isn't going to do me very good, all of this. But when you go to your friends and talk about this, they just say, are you mad or what? Come with me, let's go and let's go out, go for a long drive, all of this. So try to weigh, try to understand the people you want to have around you who have the same thinking, because once you're among those people, you will see whatever you want to achieve, you are able to move ahead in that, and very fast, because they are also supporting that thing, they also understand that thing, and they're just like, yeah, go ahead, do that, grow as a person. So for us, the being in the company of people, at least right now when we are in the company of people, try to be around people who have the same way of thinking or the same way of understanding the things as you do, and you will see life gets much more easier when you do this thing. Okay. So the last point of discussion for today is the unsteadiness. Okay. So this is on both levels. This works on both levels, your mind and your body. If your mind is not stable, then you will see that your body is also not stable. So suppose on a particular day you're having a very stressed out day, and you go and you start go and you practice tadasana, because tadasana is a balancing pose, and immediately you will realize what is the state of your mind. So when you go and practice tadasana, you will see that you're not able to hold in that. Why? Because the mind is very stressed, and when you're trying to do a balancing posture, you need a combination of a stable mind and a stable breath to hold in that posture. So not able to do that. Similarly, when you come in your practical classes, when you have the live classes, you come into the class, some days you will observe your practice is very good, your mind is very calm that day, hence your practice is good. But on other days, when you see that something is bothering you or stressing you out, your asana, after the asana practice, you might feel better. But during that asana practice, if you have to hold, or in general, also, you will see that the quality of your practice dips a little bit. Why? Because the mind is not stable at that point of time. So you're not able to connect with your body and go into that asana, feel the impact of that asana on your body. And it happens the other way around also. So when your body is not stable, there is unsteadiness in your body, you naturally get mentally disturbed. Yes, when we see somebody do Shirshasana and we are not able to do Shirshasana, we are like, okay, is there something wrong with me? Why am I not able to do this? So there is some unsteadiness in your body which you can work on, but that causes some unsteadiness in the mind. And when that happens, when you are working on the body, it's not steady or it's not ready to go into that asana, then once the thoughts start coming in, you see that you are not able to do that asana. Now, in the first go, maybe it was the first time the teacher said, okay, try Shirshasana. So you started doing that. And then first time you were at least able to lift your legs up till 90 degree. Then you saw people around you. Okay, and they were like straight, yeah, and they were completely like on their head, and inversion was proper. Then when you do the same asana the next time, you will see that you are not able to do it that properly. Now you are not able to lift yourself up to 90 degree also, because now the mind has started functioning. The eyes saw that everybody around me is able to do it, I'm not able to do it, and then you go into that state of mind like, oh god, why am I not able to do this? What will happen? When will I be able to do this? All of these questions start coming up in your mind, and then it's like the unsteadiness is passed on from the physical body to the mental body. Yeah, and we are not able to perform that same thing. So be aware of all of these six things. Yeah, when you are in yoga sadhana, make sure that you are trying to avoid all of these things. You're able to go into your practice with a very clear mind that, okay, I will listen to my body, be it for food or for physical practice, or sometimes after doing yoga, you don't feel like talking to anyone. That's okay. Listen to yourself, connect with yourself. That is what the entire practice is about. Some days you don't feel like, you feel like that same rule, that the same sankalp that you have taken is not making you feel good. That's okay. It's all right. As long as you and your body, they are in agreement, you will progress on your path very fast. Okay. So any doubts in any of these points?
No, all clear.
Okay. So I'll just write down the sadhak tattva today, and we can discuss those tomorrow. Okay. So your sadhak tattva include enthusiasm, perseverance, then we have discrimination, unshakable faith, courage, avoiding the company of common people. Yeah.
Can you please explain why adhering to rules is not good?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Adhering to rules is not good because when you are taking up a rule and you are uh, following that thing, okay, so I'll think of an example. Wait. Okay, let's take the example of brahmacharya because that is very like, um it's kind of a controversial thing. Like a lot of people are just like, okay, I can practice yoga, but brahmacharya or uh, sexual abstinence I don't want to do. Okay. So let me take this example. Suppose you choose to do this. Okay, you set your mind, okay, I'm not going to engage in any sexual activities. Okay, very good. Your intention was very good when you set this up. But eventually, when you are like practicing yoga, what starts happening is you get the sexual urges. Yeah, and these are like common human urges that you get in Ayurveda also. I'm sure you must have studied about urges, and one of them is the sexual urge. Okay, so at this point of time, because you have taken a sankalp, or you have set your mind strongly that you won't engage in sexual activities, what you will end up doing over here is you will end up suppressing a natural urge. And if you suppress this natural urge, this will come up later on in a very like, so right now maybe it was 10%. Next time when uh, this emotion or urge will come up, it will be 20-30%. Okay, that is the strength that it will gain if you suppress that. So taking the sankalp was good when you started the practice, but as you went into the practice, you realize that okay, right now I still have desires, and I do not want to like give up on those. Let me at least experience all of that, and then I will come out of it. But because you have taken a determination, you don't act on that urge. Okay. And you haven't gone into that deep level of sadhana where you can come out of all of these things through meditation. It is possible, but for a beginner it is not that easy. Okay. So either your level of sadhana is that strong, that you can come out of that urge, not suppress it. But most of us end up suppressing our desires. So then this will become an obstacle. You have to adhere to the rule, but now you're holding on to it too tightly. So it's leading you, it's doing more harm to you than good. Was this clear a little bit?
Yes, yes, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So we have written the six badhaktattva also. Tomorrow we will discuss on all of these. We'll have a discussion. Okay. So let's end today's session. I think nobody has any doubts. Okay. Let's end today's session. Back next trip. Close your eyes and start watching your breath. Take one deep breath. Inhale. Exhale. We'll chant Om one time, followed by three Shanti. Inhale deeply for Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Join both your palms together in front of your chest and just bow down. And remember any one incident from your past 24 hours that you are grateful for. Say a mental thank you. Now rub both the palms together. Place them over the eyes. And very slowly, while blinking and looking at your palms, open up your eyes, come back to the smile. And namaste to everyone. I will see all of you for pranayam class in the evening. Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Okay, bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.